From beside the roaring fire and deep in the heart of Dixie, it is I, Little Lukey Bear.
And I am Little Maxie Bear. Today's episode of I Guess We'll Do It That Way features Dave, Spooky, Ferino, Uncle Zay, and Dada Bear, and now some wisdom. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, and even their name is forgotten. Their love, their hate, and their jealousy have long since vanished. Never again will they have a part in anything that happens under the sun. Go, eat your food with gladness, and drink your wine with a joyful heart, for God has already approved what you do.
Hell yeah.
What's up, Uncle Zay?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. John's trying not to make eye contact again.
I'm staring at the woodwork in Uncle Zay's office.
I'm staring at a snake plant. Are we both sick?
Yeah, I think we are, thanks to you.
A simple equation. One sick person plus close proximity with another person equals 2 sick people.
The transitive property of illness.
That's still a theory. Germ theory, John, not germ law.
It's not a fact yet.
It's germ theory.
You made it a fact in my body, though, that's for sure. Ooh, that sounded romantic.
Yeah, it was
We went out to breakfast this morning, and I suddenly realized why I have 100% of your germs in me. You cut me a little piece of toast this morning. You're like, try this. And your fingers were melting the butter on top of the toast as you handed it to me. I still ate it. I did eat it.
It's kind of like when a little kid wants you to hands you something and you're like, there's literally your snot all over it.
All over it.
I can see your snot on it,
I
which
love
means
you.
there's a lot of germs.
So I'll eat it. And I did.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice of you, John.
And now I'm looking for Kaiser Permanente.
So we're doing an episode of I Guess We'll Do It That Way. Surprise, surprise. A bonus episode to recap your trip in LA. We are now recording in the Mama Bear Den, the studio, the Bear Den. That's the bear call. That's
the bear call.
Yeah, that's the bear call.
Not a lot of hibernating
No.
happening in this cave, though.
No, certainly not. Only
fact,
working.
What
was here yesterday?
Great question.
What
I
was
about
in
to
this
ask you.
cave?
We were in what they call Video Village, which is
Video, it's a small village. Its main export is video. As well as some fishing.
population 5.
Population, it fluctuates depending on the season. We were shooting a short film, which I believe we mentioned, Fortune Teller. It's about a fortune teller. The little girl finds this old fortune teller that's like made out of a newspaper.
What is a fortune teller? I
You
didn't know.
remember? Okay, you know those paper things? It's those paper things with the points on it. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at one right now
That you-
where you open it and close it, kind of makes that that kind of noise. Kind of like a bing bong noise.
Is it a 2-person game? At least, right? Or could you do it by yourself? Do people do it by
I
themselves?
guess you could do it by yourself. I think it's 2 people.
That sounds kind of sad.
The fortune teller game, though, you write some fortunes, you pick them, and in this case, there's a babysitter and a girl that she's babysitting, and they write some fortunes, and they start coming true, and things kind of go awry. There's a ghost.
Whoa.
Ghost? John got very scared when he saw the ghost.
We're in Uncle Zay's house. Me and a couple other dudes.
Well, and how many people were here?
There were a bunch. I mean,
Probably 20.
Yeah, total at the absolute most, probably about 20. Fluctuating anywhere from 10 to 15.
Right.
Normally. But me and a couple guys were out in the living room, and out of the bathroom walks like a 80-year-old looking woman with no hair.
Completely bald, but like Gollum hair.
Yes,
Like
wispy strands.
3 foot long Gollum strands hanging off.
And she comes shuffling out of this bathroom, and she has some extreme makeup on her face, and it actually scared me.
So basically, her face. She's this ghost that's sort of summoned by this fortune teller, and there's a big long scar, this big bloody scabby scar that goes down the front of her face vertically and then sideways, and it's almost like her face is sort of divided into quarters the same way the fortune teller would be. It's hideous.
Oh, I didn't get that. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I am such a moron.
No, it's fine. You'll
Her
get it when you
face
see.
was the fortune teller.
Yeah, and then it opens up. There's some special effects.
Oh, and when she opens her face up, she gets the one that says, "You will live in Calabasas." And it's the end.
It's really just a metaphor for the Calabasas clam bake.
So this will.
So we had a
special
short
effects.
here.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Our
bathroom was makeup corner.
They basically they did the equivalent of putting an entire tent over your house. They blacked out most of the windows from outside. They had artificial lights.
You know what we call that in the
everywhere.
biz, John?
Let me guess. You call it. It would make sense to call it a blackout. So you guys probably call it like shine down.
Shine.
Hey, let's get shine down on window 2.
No, it's shine down. No, it's called day for night. You're shooting
Day for night.
day.
Shine down.
You're shooting during day, passing it as night. Although, how long were people here? I mean, John, I'm curious what your expectations were. Yesterday, people started showing up at the house at 7:30.
7:30. We got up.
When
at
did the
about
makeup lady
6:30.
leave?
The makeup lady.
11:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was here until 11:30.
And this is Calabasas time, so people on the East Coast, we're talking about it's 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, last night she left.
She was here for several lifetimes.
I was shocked. That lady was no joke, like 70, and she was here 14 hours,
At least
12 hours. Yeah, it was
14. Yeah,
intense.
she was in makeup for about 13 of those hours.
Yeah.
I think she was literally sitting in a chair having her makeup done.
In Uncle Zay's bathroom.
Yeah, just with the door closed. It seemed pretty terrible.
With the makeup artist.
Note to self: don't ever be a monster.
No.
Monster acting, not for me.
She thought she was going to be in the revival of Hello Dolly. 2 weeks later.
Turns out it was Bernadette Peters.
She's sitting on your toilet in Alhambra.
We turned Bernadette Peters into an 80-year-old old lady fortune teller.
But it was intense. I mean, it was a ton of activity. This is a 5-minute finished product. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
And people were here for 14 hours.
Yeah, and obviously there was development. There was a lot of prep. Prep.
Yeah.
That's how we say it in the biz.
Obviously not even done. I mean, all you have is the raw footage now. It has to be compiled and edited and all this stuff.
I got actually scared. I saw a shot that I saw a shot recorded that I hadn't seen rehearsed. So I didn't know exactly how he was going to do it. And it legitimately scared me.
Yeah.
Out of context, no sound effect. I think it's going to be a hoot. I think people are going to be very displeased with it in a good way.
Well, we talked about it last time, but some of the short that I saw of his upset me.
It's very upsetting. He's an upsetting guy. He has issues. He's actually probably coming by this morning to pick up some stuff. So if he swings in, we'll have him hop on the mic.
Could not be really though. The guy could not be nicer. He's sort of a 31 to 33-year-old guy, very neutrally dressed. Black jeans with a sweatshirt on top and Nikes, and a real kind of humble guy, kind of nice guy. Very efficient, just came in, got what he wanted, and was very appreciative to everybody, and talked with us after. I thought he was a great guy, to be honest. Dave, Uncle Zay is shaking his head, doing 2 thumbs down.
Yeah, John only saw one side of him. The David I know is a real nightmare.
Yeah.
He was
Really?
The reason he seemed like a nice guy is because I was taking him out back, and I was like, Dave,
Cool it.
you can't yell at everybody like that.
You need to be nicer to John.
Yeah.
He's just trying to help.
No, that didn't happen. Dave's a great guy. So we were actually talking about this last night. This is kind of interesting. Why are we producing this short? Because I'm making another movie. So I don't know why I produced. Well, I still don't actually know the answer to that. I am way behind. I just produced a very complicated short. But the reason we did it is because it's a great concept. Dave is a great director, great style, as we talked about previously. And he's got a great idea for how to turn this fortune teller short, into a feature film. So the idea is that we're going to, even before we go to festivals, we're going to try to basically take this short, and Dave is a director, and exploit all the connections we have, and basically try to get somebody to pay him to write the feature version, and then we'll stay attached to direct. He'll direct it, and we'll produce the feature. That's the
Bear,
idea.
Mama,
Mama
Bear
Bear
produced this entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're going to take it to places and say, I mean, it's going to be a slick product. This 5-minute thing is going to be slick.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Based on what we've seen.
It's gonna be slippery. Even.
Yeah. Slippery with red cornstarchy substance.
Yeah. There's a lot of blood involved.
A lot of fake blood.
A lot of fake blood. I was actually this short was funny. This was one of the few, not few, but with things like this is a little bit how rollers will be, just not quite as much this way. But this is one of those jobs where everybody has a lot of jobs, So I was, we shot it on Sunday. On Saturday, we were decorating the house. I'm like hanging up pictures and like decorating this room to be like a little girl's room. John was here for a lot of that. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday, I was like, it was weird. I was like sitting there below this ghost lady during a shot where she's like about to murder this teenager. And everybody's just like, we're laughing and hanging out. Mm-hmm. And then it's kind of like, okay, time to go. And then we all get in, I get in my position because I have to like help her off this stand. And like, it was just it was funny because I've never made anything scary like that. And I was not surprised because I kind of knew that's exactly how it would be. But at the same time, I was surprised by how weird it felt to sort of be making something that's ultimately going to be very tense and scary, and everything back behind the scenes was like just mega chill,
Oh yeah.
not chill, but like no one's upset or no one's like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. That actually,
I think David's here.
1 second, I'm going to check on David. John, you feel free to monologue for a while.
Oh my goodness, it's the time I've been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Johnny Bear Hour.
This is a loosey-goosey episode. David, get in here. Get nice and close to the mic. We've got David Ferino in the studio. David, how are you?
I wasn't expecting this.
Of course you weren't. David, how was your day yesterday?
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for helping me make it.
You're welcome, David.
Yeah.
John, do you have any questions for David?
Yeah, I actually do. Dave, give us a real quick hits about your background, where you from real quick, school,
Yeah.
and how long you been in LA and what you're doing out
And
here.
also, what the fuck are you doing in my house? You were here for like 16 hours yesterday.
Well, I just want to say right now I'm propping myself up on an ottoman plus a doll so that I can match Isaiah's height.
A very creepy doll that's been hiding around the house, and Kelly repeatedly has kept like finding it in different closets. And last night, did I tell you that I stuck it in her bed? Our bed. It was pretty great.
Quick hits about me.
Give us your bio. You told me last night it's Illinois, right?
Yeah. I grew up in, I just love saying this. I grew up in a big town that's desperate to be a city. It called Peoria, Illinois. It's like 3 hours south of Chicago. I moved for college, went to NYU, and then was brought out to LA to work on a documentary with some friends. And I thought that when we finished the doc that I would move back to New York, but I wound up staying here because I had work and it just seemed easier. And
What was the documentary about?
It's a movie called Cure for Pain. You can find it online. But it was a music documentary.
We'll link to it in the show notes.
Perfect. I love that. It was a music doc. It's like one half music doc, one half family drama about this musician's life.
Was it split right down the middle? Was it like 45 minutes of a music doc that just abruptly shifts into a family drama?
With a little pornography in the middle.
Perfect.
I shouldn't say that. That's like undermining the nature of the doc. Yeah, what else can I tell you? Well, career-wise, I think we were young when we made the doc, and I think we had this dumb, naive arrogance that like something magical was going to happen and all these offers were going to come our way. And what we realized is that that didn't happen, but we started getting like video freelance work, or at least that was my narrative.
That's what happened when I made my first documentary.
Called
no
what?
one watched it. Called Build Me a World.
Oh, about Howard High School in
Yeah,
Chattanooga.
we were like, if we make a good movie, people will see it. And then we made a pretty good movie.
And very few people saw it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say that, ours was a smash hit. But it did what it needed to do.
Did it open doors for you in your career?
Yes. Again, not in the way that I anticipated, but yeah. I mean, I think the other thing is it was just like it got me experienced early,
right?
And I think it also gave me that conditioning of just like never set, hope for the best, expect the worst. Like manage your expectations, be realistic about your outcomes.
Right. Like David kept thinking, David kept saying, like, I think we can make Fortune Teller really good. And I kept saying, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just finish it.
Let's just shoot for the middle. And if we hit the middle, great. Yeah. If we exceed it, probably not going to happen.
Which everyone who listens to this podcast knows that's my mantra. It's like, aim for the middle.
Aim for the middle. Yeah,
for sure.
Aim low.
Yeah. That's what John holds me accountable to. He's like, Zay, don't go too hard on this.
You're going a little too high here. Let's go more gutter.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I say. So, Dave, you've been in L.A. I keep calling you Dave. Your name is David.
It doesn't
Which do you
matter.
prefer?
You can call me Jennifer if you want.
What's your mom call you? What does your mother call you?
Cutie Pie.
Cutie Pie. Okay, there it is. You've been in L.A. almost a decade?
Yeah.
Coming up on a decade.
Yes.
And if there's some dude right now in Peoria or some place in the country, some abysmal place, and they want to come out here to try to do what you're doing, what's your advice to them?
Well, I always feel weird dispensing advice because I feel like I'm still seeking it.
Sure.
I'm happy you're asking because I'm going to be teaching a class on January 8th. A friend of mine is the dean of a high school and he teaches a film class, and he was like, hey, want to like step in? So it'll be my first time. So this is great prep. I feel like I'm going to say something maybe a little like new agey and woo-woo to an extent, but like I feel like it's like grit, hard work, all that stuff, but I feel like also like find a way in your life to find like a baseline level of happiness and just contentment with things outside of your career ambitions, because even if you've got that stick-to-itiveness, you're always going to have highs and lows. And, during those highs, it's easy to be happy because you're getting what you've always sought. You're hitting your goals. But there's going to be times when you're not. And in those moments, you still have to find, just joy in life outside of your work to just keep you moving, keep you excited about just, existing.
Do you feel like you found that contentment in your life?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like an ongoing process, right? But yeah, I think in the past like 2-3 years especially, I feel like I've been on a journey.
Welcome to the club.
Is this high school in LA?
What?
The high school that you're going to teach film at?
Oh, the high school. Yeah. Sorry, man. I'm so faded.
Dave seems very well prepared for this class.
Well, we did spring this on you, Dave.
I've got 3 weeks, guys. It's outside. It's Encinitas, outside of San Diego.
Okay.
3 weeks that you should be spending editing Fortune Teller.
Are you going to show these kids films?
Well, I think I'm going to show the kids a rough cut and be like,
That's sick.
This is what it looks like when you're aiming for the middle.
Get him inspired young.
Yeah.
The shoot, we already talked about the shoot yesterday, but it was very cool to see. And I'm excited to see.
I mean, let's put the aiming for the middle aside and just be arrogant for a second. It's going to be awesome.
It looks really good.
It looks really good.
I went home and was up until probably 2 a.m. just like clicking through all the footage. And even the stuff that I was worried about yesterday, I'm like, oh, this is going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't work, it's our fault in post, and that won't happen. Like,
Which is we call that in the biz sitting pretty.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I until I just made it
Zay is coining all types of phrases.
I'm taking notes.
Dave, I will say this in front of Dave. Dave did a great job of knowing what he wanted, and I think that's the most important thing a director can do.
Thank you.
Dave, did it get...
You're welcome, Dave.
Dave, keep in mind that absolutely nobody listens to this, so did it get tense ever yesterday for you on set? You were here a long time. There's a bunch of moving parts.
There was moments where there were communication issues that I will take, maybe not full blame for, but I'll fully admit that like I had a hand in the problem.
Yeah.
And I think.
But how extreme are we talking about? What sort of things
not
happen?
so extreme.
I mean, I'm looking at a broken window that Dave threw a monitor through, but other than that,
Right. I mean, I had to temper my rage for a little bit. You know, it's really difficult dealing with my anger management issues in front of others on set. No. Yeah, I mean, there's always, I feel like, especially when you have tight budgets, you have tight schedules, you're always going to have these communication issues where, like, the thing that I keep reminding myself over and over and over and having to relearn is that what's in your head is not in everybody else's head. And that's a really crazy thing to articulate.
Yeah.
Like, because it's everything, right? It's like, it's the camera movements, the wardrobe, it's the makeup, it's the lighting, it's everything. And as many references as you can provide people, there's still some level of, like, your mind is not everyone else's. And so just, like, articulating stuff, especially when you're tired and you've had a long week and you can't always find the right words, it can become really taxing. And I think we hit a couple of those moments yesterday, but nothing we couldn't fight through.
Right.
It was like, you kind of have some moments of tension and then you step outside and you have a hug and a laugh and you just keep on moving.
Sure, yeah. This is your vision, essentially. And some of the people on the set here, it's a day job for them.
Right.
So you're excited and you're wanting to keep things moving and you have a vision. And some of these other people, they're out just smoking and bringing their boxes and doing their job. They couldn't really care less because they're going somewhere else right after this.
Right.
Is that a factor? And is there a part of you that is trying to motivate people to get as excited for the project as you are?
That's actually something that I've backed off of in the past couple of years. There was a time when I would, like, come on set and be like, we're going to get everyone fired up. Like, I want this PA who doesn't know anybody here except the one friend that brought them on to feel like they're included in the creative process.
Right.
And I've started to learn that, like, you don't have most of the time you don't have the bandwidth for that. And B, there are people that just, exactly like you said, they don't really care,
right?
And so I'm not going to go out of my way to phone it in for them because people detect that right away. And so the one thing that you do, and I noticed it a couple times yesterday, is you make really cool shit.
Yeah.
And you watch people get excited by what they're seeing on the monitor, what they're seeing in front of them, and that motivates them to actually get a little bit more involved. They move a little faster. They have an idea that maybe a little pitch to somebody, and that's cool.
Yeah.
That's neat when that happens, but I'm not necessarily seeking that out.
I know we're looking into the future a little bit, but now that Fortune Teller is done being shot, you're going to edit it. You're going to have a completed project. What's next after that for you?
That's a great question. I mean, it also sounds really corny to say, that's a great question.
We'll edit it.
Yeah, great, cool.
Judd asks great questions.
I aim for the middle, and sometimes I hit it.
Right. Well, congratulations on nailing that one.
Maybe we all aspire to such middleness.
What the hell are we talking about?
My quote unquote great question was, what's next for you, Dave?
Oh yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. In the very immediate future, cutting this, but I also want to get back to writing something new. I have one idea percolating, but I also want to have a few conversations to make sure that, like, that's the thing that I should be putting my energy on. I mean, this is also, I assume that you talked about this already, but this short is a proof of concept for a feature. I actually was in the middle of writing the feature when Bryce McGuire gave me the advice to stop and focus on the short. And so there's a thought that maybe I bounce back to, like, developing the feature further, like focusing on that writing.
Right. Could you real quick pause and tell us why you were given the advice to stop doing the feature and turn it into a short?
And quick note, Bryce McGuire, we had him on a few weeks ago. He's working with Mama Bear, produced a short with me and David, and
right. So Bryce is very privy to the sort of genre world in Hollywood right now.
Okay.
And he has seen in his peer set a number of people creating horror short films that have gotten feature deals even without a script.
Okay.
And I had actually just done that for another short, but it was, in my head, it's mainstream, but I realize it's a little bit wackier, for lack of a better term. And there's definitely an audience for it, but finding financing for it is a little bit more difficult because there's not the marketing avenue is a little bit more opaque. Whereas with something like these sort of popcorn horror movies, and I don't mean that as a pejorative, they have not only a built-in audience, but there's like a built-in marketing channel for these things. You know what the trailer is going to look like. You know like where to beam it into, whose brains. And I think Bryce saw that in this fortune teller concept and just thought, do the short, because I've seen these things make that jump really fast, and then we can worry about the feature. And because you've already got an outline for the feature, you've already got a nice chunk of the writing, whether it can be seen or not, you're deep in the thinking. You know some of the deeper mythology and the characters to really express the story. So, and I think he's right. And I think people are visual now, right? Yeah. Like, it's way easier to watch a really fun, 3 to 6 minute short than it is to read a 100-page script.
Yeah, it's much less of a commitment.
Yeah,
and even for any potential buyer, it seems like less of a commitment because you have a finished product that you can see what a full feature would look like.
Yeah, totally. And it's really funny. I've been having more of these conversations with kids whose ambition it is to purely write, and most of them are saying, I never thought I'd be directing, but I'm being told to direct short form material to showcase both my writing and just sort of storytelling, visual storytelling chops. So,
yeah, I mean, it seems like a really easy and relatively inexpensive way to have a finished product to take to people and show them, because a script, even a finished script, you can't picture it easily.
Right. But these you can. Yeah. Especially, it's funny. This is the first time. The other stuff that I've done has been like other genre stuff, but it's always been kind of jokey or like tongue in cheek or snarky. And this is the first time I did like straight horror and scares, right? And it was really interesting writing it, because on the page, it's tough to be scary on the page.
Right.
Like even if you're reading like a Stephen King novel, sometimes you're sitting in the dark and you kind of get goosebumps, and other times it's just words on a page. But yeah, when you actually see stuff and you actually, on a page, you try to write out what a jump scare looks like, but to actually see a jump scare or feel a jump scare is way different.
Yeah, if you've ever tried to tell somebody the plot of some Stephen King short stories, like he has one where an exercise bike becomes possessed and ruins this guy's life. It sounds like the most absurd premise for anything, but it is actually a great story.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally feel that.
Haunted Treadmill sounds like a fun movie too.
Haunted Treadmill?
Yeah, we've got a whole list of silly horror movies like Stoner Ghost.
Haunted Snow Globe.
Have you heard us pitch High Spirits, David?
Please, go on.
High Spirits is a movie about a stoner ghost, a ghost who is a recently deceased stoner. And there's an evil villain named Beelzebub. And that's about the extent of the story. Anyway, David, it's been a real pleasure. I'm going to kick you out. We have a tradition of hanging up on our guests, but because you're here in the flesh.
Well, but I'm going to be here lurking for a moment. You might hear me coming and going.
You will hear David picking up props, making racket.
My computer power cable.
That sort of thing.
Yep. Just in conclusion,
we'll have David say bye.
It's been a pleasure to meet you. I wish you tons of luck in your career. I really am looking forward to seeing.
And I will say to you too, because I think this will give you hope. I think this short is going to be the best thing I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, and I will maybe not the best, but I do think it will be the thing where I think it'll be a game changer.
What would you consider the current best?
I love Nocturnal Yours. My last
Nocturnal
short.
Yours is great.
Yeah, we watched it the other night. It's very good.
Did I tell you that John couldn't even finish Emptied?
That's great news.
John literally didn't watch the end of it.
I had to look away. I mean,
when Mackenzie Davis has her pliers on that one remaining tooth, and the gum is kind of jiggling around. It's absolutely hideous.
I do. Before you get kicked out, I have one sort of final question, and I like Stephen King a lot.
Yeah.
And if you tell people that. Yeah. Normcore people, whatever you want to call them, just people, run-of-the-mill people, they're sort of they look at you askance a little bit.
Yeah.
You've made some disturbing films. What is this, a passion of yours? Is it interest? You seem like a totally normal guy. I mean, I'd let you babysit my kids, that kind of guy.
Right. Careful. Yeah, just careful what you wish for. Yeah, I always tell this story. There's two things to it. A, I do like horror stuff. my ambitions, transcend horror. Obviously, I'd like to tell all sorts of stories.
Sure.
But I had this experience when I was a little kid where Tim Burton was the first director where I recognized, like, oh, there's somebody behind the camera who's like putting these things together. And I could track that from movie to movie and like, okay, I see. Into Burton as a kid, aware that there's like a filmmaker and there's magic behind the camera. This stuff doesn't just naturally occur. And so I'm a little kid. I go to Disney World and there's the Haunted Mansion ride. And I'm probably like young, like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I get in the lobby, before you're even on the ride. And there was some animatronic werewolf creature, and I was petrified. I was so spooked, and I refused to go on. And my mom was like, David, relax. It's just special effects. It's like a Tim Burton movie. And my eyes lit up, and I was like, immediately became eager to get on the ride, and then wanted to see, as I was on the ride, how they, crafted all of these scares and like how they made this world. And I think that kind of got me going just from a super early age. And so now I'm at a place where like I can sort of use that like early impetus in all of this work. But at the same time, it's a marketing thing. It's like, I think for a lot of young filmmakers, if you know how to do genre, or you don't mind being in quote unquote horror hell for a little bit,
right?
You do it because it's a way into the game.
And also part of what's fun about the genre space right now is it's where some of the most innovative stuff is happening. In some cases, because the marketing channel allows you to spend money on out there ideas and still sort of find an audience for it. Like it's really hard to get financing for a family drama, but Haunting of Hill House is something everybody keeps talking about. And it's like kind of a family drama. It's kind of a horror, but apparently it's one of the best things that's been on TV in a long time. And it's like, that's partly because they can hook people. It's like a really good pop song. You need a hook, but that doesn't mean you can't do something amazing.
You mastered your fear and turned it into a career. Ooh, and that's going to be the title of your self-help book.
Great. I think on that note, I should get out of your hair.
It's been a pleasure, Dave.
You're
Thanks
not
a
in
lot.
my
Seriously.
hair.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Later on.
Looking
a
forward to
high five.
seeing the short, Dave.
We may actually do I was thinking we may actually do a full-on fortune teller, get Bryce in here. Once it's done, kind of like, that would be fun to just do like a full recap. Have some hoots and hollers.
Yeah.
All right. I love it.
Uncle Zay, you want to take us into one of our next topics up here, buddy?
So many topics, Uncle Johnny Bear. So many topics. That was a real pleasure having Dave in here, wasn't it?
He's a pro, and he's still standing here, which makes it even more awkward.
He's laughing at us. He's like, these idiots think they're doing a radio show.
All of my hospitable tendencies make me want to get up and offer to help Dave pack up and clean up, but I can't do it. Speaking of Dave, we went to pick up.
Oh yeah, because well, real quick, let's take a. You're right. I want to hear this story, but there's context to the story.
Tell us.
John happened to be here while we were doing the short. We sort of planned that, but John ended up becoming officially a co-producer on the project.
Dave is shaking his head right now. He worked on this for years, and I came and I moved a couple boxes.
No, David gets all the real credit. Director, writer,
as he should.
As he should. No, but John became a co-producer on the project. He sent out a call sheet. John, do you want to give us a one paragraph on what a call sheet is?
It's a sheet that tells people when and where to show up to things.
And it provides it's the key information the day before the shoot. So then, John was running around doing all sorts of stuff, kind of just making the thing happen. We could not have done this without John.
That is not true. But
it's true.
We had friend of the show, Grant
Withington
came by looking like a little Dapper Dan. Mm-hmm. And as Mr. Dave Ferino himself said, he said, "Are you coming from a thing, or is this just your vibe?" Because
that's funny.
Our friend of the show, Grant, was dressed in a suit with a tie in his breast pocket that looked like an ascot, and he was very fancy looking, very fancy. But he and I went out to San Fernando and picked up a green screen from a shipping container.
Yes,
for this shoot. And as we came out, we're in this giant parking lot, And as we come out, we turn the corner with the duffel bag with the green screen in it.
But it's like a black duffel bag that looks like it might be full of money or drugs.
It could be full of anything. We're at an abandoned parking lot with just a few shipping containers in it. And as I turn the corner out of the shipping container, there's about 4 to 6, so 5 cop cars lined up right in front of us.
Yowza. Why?
And one of the boys in blue is cocking a shotgun.
Oh, my gosh.
Right in front. I mean, maybe not right in front of me, maybe 30 feet in front of me.
Oh, yeah,
which is way too close.
Too close for a shotgun.
And I'm there with Grant, who looks like he might have just escaped from like a mortuary or, he might be a time traveler from the 1950s.
Be a bank robber who's passing as a regular bank employee.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of possibilities here, but we look sketchy. And I look like the half Greek LA Strangler.
Yeah,
I
right.
got sunglasses, a hoodie, shorts, and some socks.
You're kind of the muscle fixer guy.
I look dangerous for not great reasons. Yeah. And but it turns out somebody had barricaded themselves in the in the equipment rental part of that complex.
Holy smokes.
And they were about to storm the place with guns, but I immediately put my hands up. And I was trying to sort of signal to the cop.
Now, wait, did you figure out, because the guy that, Creasy, our gaffer. Creasy's a great guy. We'll have Creasy on one day. Really great guy. Our gaffer, he owns a small equipment rental company. Were they storming? He was on set, so he has a good alibi.
Right.
He was not the one barricaded, but were they storming his rental company?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I did not know that.
And when I told him, he seemed surprised.
He was like, "Oh, it's probably John."
He said, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
Actually, what he said was, and we noticed this on the way in, that they had recently broken up some part of Skid Row. They had evicted a bunch of people, and they were stationed right by that equipment rental building out on the street. There are tents everywhere, and he suspected, maybe one of those guys. It's a sad situation down here.
Very sad.
The weather is perfect. If you're going to do a little urban camping, this is where you want to do it.
That's the truth.
But it's they don't do anything about this homeless situation. They just let them stay there. They don't touch them. They do nothing.
The first time I went to Skid Row was really astonishing because you think it's going to be a row. The reality is it's like a 4-block by 6-block region of downtown.
Yeah.
I'm talking like a whole block, like a block in this geometrically, like multiple blocks where every corner, every inch of the street, the sidewalk is covered in tents.
Right.
And again, not just like one street for a block.
At least
it's
they
like
have
one
bathroom
street, and then
facilities
you
for
make
everybody.
a right halfway down, and you walk down another street that's also Tent City, and then you walk down a different street. You make a left, that's still Tent City. It's really astonishing. We didn't get a chance to go down there while John was here, but he saw a bit of it.
I really wanted to see it. I wanted to spend a few days there, but Zay just kept saying, no, whatever, man.
We had a lot to do, John. You had a lot to do. John was in charge of catering yesterday. John was in charge of some equipment pickup.
I had to placate the talent. Anytime they got upset, I would just go in and say, no, you're doing an amazing... That's not true.
That didn't happen.
How many talent were here?
There were 3 talent.
Describe them.
One was... we had 3 talent. A young lady...
About how old?
10. About
She's
10 years old. Wonderful young actress.
Keep in mind, a woman's face opens up. A woman who looked like a cancer
she was not
patient.
here for that part. A teenager. No. I'm sorry. She plays
22.
a teenager. McKaylee. She was about 22.
22.
Lovely young lady. Excellent. Very, very professional. I was blown away by McKaylee's professionalism. She had a cold the whole time. She just came off of a week of night shoots, 12-hour days on a movie, working all night. She worked yesterday. She slept for a few hours, came to our house, shot for 12 and a half hours, and then went home. And she's on set right now.
She had a very strong...
She had a 6 a.m. call time this morning.
She had a very strong...
She was here till midnight. Almost.
early 20s Lindsay Lohan vibe. She had a lot of vocal fry. She kind of looked like her.
Good actor though, really strong.
That's
just
not a
like she
critique.
could. No, yeah, totally. She's got a vibe. And that's the vibe she's playing. She's playing a babysitter. You know, she can do other stuff. She's a writer. She apparently just sold a freaking script.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. She apparently just sold a script.
Everybody out here is selling something.
No, they're selling it doesn't mean anyone's buying it.
True.
She's closed the deal, which is rare.
My impression of like random. So if you're in Chattanooga and you walk down the street and you bump into somebody, what do you do? Oh, I work in insurance, or I work down at the hospital. Every single person that I bumped into on the street and talked to, like, hey man, can you tell me how to get to what you? And then you talk to them. What do you do here? Every single person I talked to. Oh well, I'm an actor. Oh, I'm selling
so false.
I'm selling a something. Like so many people.
That works really well for John's.
I ran into
meta-narrative of this
that girl at the E-Bell. There was some random chick
Okay,
who wanted
you're
to see
right.
it.
That
She
was
walked
true.
in, and of course, you know, oh, I'm an actress.
Yeah.
I'm trying to write a script for da-da-da. Everybody's trying.
Yeah, so we had the 10-year-old gal, we had the 22-year-old gal, and then we had the 80-year-old gal. It was a gal fest. We had a lovely time. So there's 3 talents. I don't know why we refer to them as nouns. It's like cattle. We had 3 cattle here yesterday. It feels kind of rude.
The girl's mom was here.
Her grandmother.
A grandmother.
Yeah.
And
her
she
handler.
had a teacher.
You know, we had a handler, the grandmother, and we also had a set teacher. You know, and I was shitting all over the set teacher before I met her.
Literally in person the day she got here was disgusting.
That is so gross. I was shit talking the teacher, and you know, I gotta say, she did a great job. She kind of like,
She was super nice.
she was really nice. She kept the young actress occupied, helped it make it she helped explain what was going on all the time. Like,
this is the part where he's gonna stab you in the eye, honey.
that did not happen. There were no children harmed in this production. She you're right though. She did have to explain that several times when it did happen. I lied. It happened a lot. No, she did a great job. She just she like made it an educational extracurricular. She almost was coaching, because David can't just sit there hand holding the whole time, you know. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe charge us less money. But she did a good job.
The teacher.
Yeah.
Not Dave.
She got paid more than anybody else here.
Right.
Because there was no room for negotiation. It's like a law.
Yeah. This is what she does.
But at least she did a good job.
I talked to her at the beginning, and you know, she used to be a nanny, she used to be a teacher, and somehow she got into this gig, and now she comes anytime there's a child on set. She said even if the child is from California, if they're a California resident and they go shoot in Atlanta, somebody from California has to go to Atlanta.
Oh,
if that little girl, if she's her minder and she went to shoot in Atlanta, that woman has to go with her to make sure that the California rules are enforced. That's what she told me.
Yowza.
That's crazy.
Sounds
That's some
like a-
far-reaching bureaucracy, my friends.
California. But, you know, hey, speaking of California bureaucracy, I have John on the record saying, you know, I get it.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, you get what you pay for because the roads are nice.
Everything's nice.
Pretty much everything's actually really nice. Yeah, so, wow, man, John almost got held up at a rental house. Oh, John, I remembered after our last episode, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah.
We had some excellent culinary adventures while we were here.
Oh, boy.
Because LA is, a lot of people say, one of the best food cities in the world right now.
We spent a lot of time in and around the Zay's neighborhood and the adjacent neighborhoods, which still, I mean, really, we didn't touch like downtown that much. We
didn't touch Hollywood really. West. We
so-
did go to the Walk of Stars and
Yeah. Well, we saw plenty, but
Yeah.
the point is, because each, like Zay's neighborhood and a couple neighborhoods around, like Pasadena, they're actual cities in and of themselves. Like Pasadena seems bigger than Chattanooga.
they're cities with their own downtowns and their own suburbs.
Right. So we saw a ton of stuff, and each of these places has amazing food. We went and got Chinese food.
Szechuan style Chinese.
And they used real Szechuan peppers, which I thought were illegal for whatever reason. I still haven't looked it up, but we'll verify.
How would you describe the effect of a Szechuan pepper?
So even a wasabi is sort of is a little different than normal pepper, like a hot sauce.
Yeah, that's more of a throaty spice.
Yeah. This is a completely different experience because it's not hot, but it creates a numbing effect in your mouth.
That's so good.
Yeah, so there is some spice, like a peppery spice to it, but it also just not completely, but it substantially numbs your mouth.
But in a way that you can still taste.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It just, I really, it's honestly, it was one of the most unique culinary experiences I've had in a long time, just because every single flavor I tasted throughout the meal was something I had not yet tasted.
Well, the guy...
It wasn't like, wow, this is pizza done well. Don't get me wrong. I love pizza. And we got Johnson Donuts, too.
Ooh, yum-yums.
But more specifically, it was unique. It was new to me.
And very tasty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All of the dishes had just a surprising amount of Szechuan peppers in and on them.
Yeah, little peppercorns.
Yeah, we got donuts. We went to this crazy little diner this morning, had some Belgian waffle. I mean, we've been going kind of hard. I weigh about 14 pounds more than I did yesterday.
Definitely. But the Szechuan, I'm trying to think, the other thing is, too, there were like 10 different places that we almost went to, and that was the one we chose, and it was great. And I'm sure what's crazy is I'm sure there's 10 other ones that are equally as good that we just didn't even try.
You know, in one of the fish dishes we had, there was a broth. And in that
I didn't like the fish that much, to be honest.
It was
unique.
It was good.
You know what I liked? Was that mushroom, those funky,
well, that's what I'm getting.
Gummy mushrooms.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
Getting to the mushroom. So they had in there there's a broth with a lot of different substances in it, and there was a black, sort of feathery, not feathery, kind of looked like something that would be in the ocean, like a little urchin or something, and
it was hideous, is what you're trying to say.
Kelly, it was very gross looking. Kelly told me, that's Uncle Zay's wife, told me that it was some kind of
life
moss.
partner.
At first, she was looking through the ingredients. She thought it might be some kind of a moss. So I just popped one in my mouth and ate it. And the outside is kind of slimy. And inside, they had put some Szechuan peppers. And it did some funky stuff to me. I mean, it completely burned and numbed simultaneously.
John almost seemed a little bit high.
Well, the guy comes back, and I said, "What was that?"
Yeah.
And I pointed to the thing, and he said, "Oh, he didn't speak English great, but he said, let me show you." So he pulled his phone out, and he pulled up a picture of a fly agaric or a fly agaric, which is it's a mushroom, and it's a Santa Claus mushroom, like an Amanita muscaria type mushroom. That's exactly what it looks like. And he told me, "You don't eat these, don't eat them." But I had already eaten them. Yeah,
and I ate one too, and it was kind of good.
I don't know if I would go so far as to say good. More like painful and unpleasant.
It's
similar.
Some people. Oh, that's good. We should do a rollers update, and then we should
hit me. What is the update? You've been so busy on other stuff.
I know. I'm way behind. I've got some great casting meetings. I've got 2 today. I've got 1 tomorrow. I've been looking at auditions. Yeah, man. There's so much to do.
You said you have a casting meeting today?
I'm meeting with cast. No, I'm meeting with a member of the cast. Well, not a member, a prospective member of the cast.
This would be an audition. Mm-hmm. Is it? Are you going to have this
She sent in an audition. I'm probably more going to just like talk to her and get her vibes.
It's like a social thing.
Yeah, it's social.
Can we work together?
Yeah. Can I mold you?
What's a deal breaker in this? What could she do? So you've already seen her act, I guess, because she sent in an audition. You thought it was good?
I think the deal breaker is I need her to be in. I don't need her to be perfect. I need her to be directable. I need her to understand herself.
She's a musician primarily?
These two actually that I'm talking about are pretty successful musicians who also are actors, and that's the thing. I don't need them to be able to do everything. I don't need them to be a Christian Bale who can be. I just need them not to play themselves. They're not playing themselves. They're playing a character, but I need them to be able to lose themselves. This is the conversation I've been having with them. Is like, I need you to be able to get out of your own way. That's key,
right?
Because the only thing that makes what could be good actors bad actors usually is that they're acting instead of just being. I need them to be able to be. And I think there's something really appealing about a good musician. They're kind of playing a character on stage. We've talked about that, And so I need them. And to me, the idea of singing is way scarier than acting.
Right.
But I guess if you're a musician, maybe that's not the case.
We've talked about this, but it is super vulnerable.
Incredibly vulnerable.
Particularly because you've written it. as well as now performing it.
For sure. But also, man, it was interesting watching McKaylee on set yesterday, or even our ghost, it's like, it was huge. I remember talking to David. That was one of the big things when we were casting the ghost, is like, we need to find somebody who's not self-conscious about the fact that they're being cast as this old hag.
Right.
Because she's not an old hag. She doesn't look like an old hag, but she is older. Yeah. Was that hideous enough?
David himself said as she was leaving, I feel bad about casting as the the old bag, but who else is going to do it?
Who else is going to do it? You know what? And she had fun and she acted her butt off. David's back in the room. David, I'd like to audition this noise as the noise for the old hag.
Can I try one?
Yeah. Please.
That was David's. That's going in the final cut. Oh, thanks, David.
Yeah, you bet.
David just left me a little gift.
A little present after
a little
the shoot.
thank you gift. David, that is so freaking special. Anyway, David, bye.
Later, guys.
Good to see you, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
Been a real pleasure.
David's a great guy, everybody. We'll have him back on.
See ya. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Great to meet you, dude.
That was David Ferino here from the Mama Bear Den.
We're gonna what's the rest of our day look like, Uncle
John,
What's
the rest of
rundown?
our day is packed out. Okay, you know what
I'm
we're going to
leaving.
do?
Shortly.
John's leaving, which makes me hideously sad in my heart.
I'm gonna be in the land of Dixie soon enough.
So John's going to be leaving. I actually, this is a rare LA coincidence. I have a meeting with an accountant in El Segundo, which happens to be right near the airport.
Oh, that means the Segundo.
The second. But I don't know why it would be called the second. So I'm driving John to the airport. We're gonna
take one final drive.
Oh, it's gonna be so exciting.
LA.
We're gonna start that drive in about 10 minutes. Actually,
Are we really?
Yeah.
We better hit the bricks then.
We better hit the bricks. John, I'm thinking about other things that we need to discuss. I'm looking forward to recording some episodes without you in the room.
Without me staring at you?
I like being naked. I like being. I don't like having to look into your eyes. No, I'm actually going to be a little bummed. It's going to be hard to go back to remote recording, but we'll make it. I don't know. It's nice.
It's going to be hard to go back to the weather.
It's partly nice because we can pregame kind of before the episode. We can talk. We can get. We
couldn't talk here because we were in person.
Yeah, exactly. What else is new? I'm guitar shopping for Rufus. I'm going to the venue today with a prospective production designer. Still looking for production designers, talking to different people. It's tricky. Production design is hard because they need money to do their job, and we don't have much. So finding somebody who can kind of like make it work with what we have is challenging because anyone can make it work, but they need to be able to have. They need to be excited about making it work. John, I think that's...
Should we wrap it?
That's it. I think so. I'm really sad you're going to leave, though.
We'll be over Skype.
Yeah. Next week. We'll have this episode. This is going to be a Friday episode, I believe, right?
What's today? Monday.
Today's Monday. So we got another episode coming out tomorrow, which John and I edited together.
Oh, we did. Yes, we did indeed.
Sweet. All right. Well, John, it's been so good.
See you on the flip side, my friend.
Bye.
Bye. This episode was edited by me, my kids, you heard them in the beginning, Max and Luke. Cover art, Nate Giordano. Produced by Mama Bear, which really means say. Songs, Pink Floyd, Great Gig in the Sky. Good song by The Blur at the end. Interstitial middle is Shake Your Rump by the Beastie Boys.